today's Meetup Live. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Janine. I'm the events lead at Meetup. I am super excited to have our special guest. She is a badass woman. I guess I should have given y'all a warning, earmuffs. Sorry about that. But she really is. And it's such a pleasure to have her here, especially for Women's Month. International Women's History Month, sorry. And she is about to launch her new book in a couple of weeks, April 6th to be exact. So Ali Kriegsman is the co-founder and COO of Bulletin and the author of How to Build a Goddamn Empire. Yes, and she has. Ali is joining us for a candid session on networking, your way to success, and how to turn your community into your greatest asset. She's going to share email outreach techniques that spark joy and don't annoy. I feel like that is specifically for me, so thank you. She's also going to explain how to find potential industry contacts and how to turn some of your acquaintances into fierce advocates for your professional journey. So before I hand it over to Ali, I'm going to go over some housekeeping rules and the agenda. If I can just move to the next slide. All right, hold on. Struggling with the mouse here. Yes, I use a mouse. Okay, got it. Okay, so yes, this event is being recorded. Don't worry, you will not appear on the video. But the good thing is, because the event is being recorded, you'll be able to access a recording and a recap of this event on our blog, meetup.com/blog. Everyone is also muted. You will only be able to hear Ali or myself. Questions, we love your questions. We ask you that you please submit your questions in the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. Also, closed captioning is available. Thank you, Zoom, for that great feature. You can turn it on. On the bottom of your screen, there's a button that says live transcription. Just click on that icon and select your preference. I also want to say that we have a live giveaway going on, and all you had to do was just RSVP to this event. There is no purchase necessary. And sorry, international, all qualifying entrants must be in the US. We have partnered with Abrams Publishing. Oh, I cannot talk. Abrams Publishing to give 2 lucky winners Ali's book. The entry closes at 3:30 p.m. today, so while you're on here, the entry will close. We're adding more information on the chat just in case you have any questions. And the next one. Okay, so I just gave an introduction of the event and also went over the housekeeping rules, as well as shared some information on the giveaway. Ali is going to take it away, and after that, I will be coming back on to go over the Q&A. Whatever questions y'all have for Ali, please submit them in the Q&A feature, as I mentioned earlier, and I will be asking Ali your questions, and she will be answering. All right, Ali. You got this.
Thanks, Janine. I just want to start quickly by saying hi to everyone. Really, really excited to present to you today. Janine and Cindy and the whole Meetup team have been incredible to work with. So thank you, Janine and Cindy, for coordinating this amazing workshop. Alrighty, let me share my screen and get started. Can everyone see my screen? Janine, do you mind just removing from mute to let me know we're all good?
I can see your screen. Just click on the present.
All good. Okay. All righty. So here is the conversation outline for today. Let me keep my phone near me so I make sure I don't go over 40 minutes. First, we're going to dive into who I am and my story, why networking has defined my career to date. We are going to talk through why networking is the same thing as sales. If you've ever been a salesperson or you know people who are salespeople, they have the secret key to all the tips and tricks for networking because it requires a very similar skill set. We are going through a 30, 60, 90 networking plan. I'm going to actually show you a draft plan that you can screenshot and use for your own networking and career goals. We will talk through how to do effective cold outreach. Sending cold emails, sending cold messages is so important to building your network. I know it can be scary, it can be intimidating. We're going to demystify how to do it and how to do it well. We will talk through the new rules of networking. How do you make sure that you don't piss people off or annoy anyone? I know that's something that people get anxious and stressed about, so I want to make sure we tackle that. And then we'll obviously also talk through the importance of paying it forward. Networking is not just about getting people to yes you and getting them to support you. It's always about giving the same in return. So a quick recap, who am I? You are taking advice from me, so you may as well know a thing or two about me and my career. I'm Ali. I'm the co-founder and COO of a retail technology company called Bulletin. We operate a wholesale marketplace that connects independent brands all over the US and Canada with independent retailers that source inventory from those brands, also all around the US and Canada. I am the author of a book that comes out April 6th. It's called How to Build a Goddamn Empire. Took me 3 years to write that book while building my business full time, and had to do a lot of networking to get that book across the finish line. I have scaled both bootstrapped and venture-backed businesses to millions of dollars in sales, and I am a self-taught networker, marketer, and publicist. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and why networking is so important to me, and why it became really critical to building the career of my dreams. So I started my life very candidly with a lot of privilege and stability. I grew up in LA. My parents had their own small business for many years. It was thriving. We had food on the table and a roof over our head, and things were amazing. I have a younger brother. Everything was taken care of for us, and we really had a dream life. By the time I got to high school, my family was plagued by recurring medical crises. I'm not going to go into the details to spare my family the privacy, but we got into real dire financial straits, paying for my dad's hospital bills. He was on dialysis for a very long time and suffered from kidney failure. And so a lot of that stability and privilege started to deteriorate, and things became a lot tougher for my family. That wrought an era of instability. With my dad on dialysis, my family's financial situation completely changing. I had no idea how each day was going to go. Things were very start and stop. My parents would rush to San Diego to try to find a kidney replacement for my dad. It was very touch and go whether or not my brother and I would be able to stay in school. So a lot of instability kind of flooding my life. Eventually, my parents divorced, and this caused kind of the full-on financial ruin of the Kriegsman household. We were evicted from our house. We had to build everything from scratch. My parents used to be in business together. My mom could no longer run that business because she and my dad were divorcing. And so she needed to build a network and a career from scratch. And a lot of the network that she had built for me and my brother also completely disintegrated. I grew up in a very tight-knit religious community. I would not consider myself deeply ingrained in that community any longer because of the results of everything I'm sharing with you right now. But our disintegration financially was very public. My family lost a lot of friends. The network we had built had completely collapsed at our feet. And my mom, me, and my brother were really all in a position where we had to build back better, to quote Joe Biden. We had to build from scratch again. So this is why networking is such a key part of my life, because it was a huge asset for me growing up. My mom had worked so hard to put me in the right schools, connect me with the right people, the right families. And because of things that were completely out of my control, the network that she had worked so hard to build for my brother and I completely fell apart. So all of this obviously made me feel a lot of different things. I felt a lack of control, as I shared. I felt insecure about my value. I felt ashamed about what happened to my family and how public it was. I felt lost. I felt so sad for my mom that she was going through this horrible divorce. And I felt untethered. When you don't have a network, it sometimes feels like your success, your career, and your future is, you don't have a support system to help you get there. And that feeling of untetheredness made me feel really powerless, and really frustrated. So I realized that it was time to build, own, and control my own network. I decided to become powerful where I had previously felt powerless. And that is when networking became my thing. I realized that if I could build the right toolkit, and absorb all the learnings from my mom, from building out her network for so many years, running her own business, this is something that could become a strength of mine. It's something that I could turn into a superpower rather than feeling like, oh no, I lack this network. My future is now out of my hands. So let me tell you about the most recent time that I had to put my networking acumen to work. I got a book deal in 2017. I won't go into the details of how because we don't have the time. I began writing the book in 2018 and wrote it for a whole year. The book was postponed in 2020. It was supposed to come out in September. I got a call from my publisher and they were going to postpone it. What I also realized in 2020, around the time of that postponement, was that a lot of making the book successful was going to fall on my shoulders. You think that your publisher will do and support you in all these magnificent ways, but really, they're betting on you and your book the same way that people place bets at a casino. And they really do expect the authors to do a lot of heavy lifting to make their book successful. So in 2020, I put a plan of action in place for the network I wanted to build and the wins that I wanted to see for my book by the time it came out in April of 2021. I started working on my plan in April of 2020, so just about a year ago. I implemented that plan, optimized it, hustled my heart out until now. We're in March. And the book comes out in April 2021. So the plan and the guidance I'm going to give you is guidance that I literally put into practice in the past 365 days ahead of my book launch in April. So these were goals that I set for myself that I wanted to accomplish by April 2021. I outlined 10 key famous women entrepreneurs that I wanted to get physical mailing addresses for. That was my goal. Note here, the goal was not to get promotion because I can't control whether these women promote the book or not. All I can control is if I can get the book to their doorstep. Another goal I set for myself was outlining 20 media outlets for my PR wish list and getting stories with at least 5 of them. I dreamed up 10 ideal panels and panelists for virtual programming like Meetup. Meetup was one of my ideal partners, and I wanted to plan at least 6 of these events. And then lastly, I wanted to scale my Instagram following from around 2.8 thousand followers to 4,000 followers to help grow my audience and my pool of potential customers. So networking is the same thing as sales. In the same way that a salesperson will say, by the end of this month, I want to sell 20 of my first soaps, or in the next 60 days, I need to close deals with 3 potential clients. Start thinking of networking in the same way. Networking doesn't have to be this kind of willy-nilly, loosey-goosey, aimless, stressful thing. You can build a plan, you can put the plan in motion, you can measure how the plan is going, and you can optimize just like you would a sales funnel. You have to think, nurture, plan, and execute. Networking is something that requires a lot of strategic thought, work, and hustle, and we're going to go into exactly how to do that now. So in order to be a great networker, these, I think, are the key skills and muscles that you need to invest in before you actually go out and implement the plan that we'll work on creating together. So the first thing is you need to have great verbal communication and written communication skills. As you'll see in a second, you're going to be doing a lot of cold outreach to build your network, and you need to be able to speak to why you're great, why you want someone to listen to you, pay attention to you, and join your network. And you may have to get on the phone with them for 20 minutes to tell your story, get buy-in from them, and get them excited about being part of your journey. You have to learn a bit of shamelessness and pause your pride. I think this is something that a lot of people, especially introverts, have difficulty with. You shouldn't be ashamed of the fact that you want to build your network. You shouldn't be ashamed of the fact that you're eager to reach out to people to help pivot a career or build a network of other entrepreneurs if you're starting a business. Realize that your pride and your sense of shame around that cold outreach is getting in the way of you building a network. So let's just try to treat that shamefulness and that ego as something that is going to prohibit you from building the network that you want. You have to learn how to accept rejection and move on. As you'll see in our networking plan, you're going to be reaching out to 100 people to build your network. Half of them might say no to you. 30 of them may never even get back to you, but that has to be okay. Don't stew in it. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about it. Don't let it make you anxious. Learn how to accept rejection, not take it personally, and keep going. Because if you let that rejection define your experience or how confident you're going to be in building out your network, you're not going to build out a network. The rejection, the shame, and the ego is going to prevent you from getting there. You have to make a plan. We'll go through a draft plan together so you see what I mean. You have to measure your progress. A great salesperson measures their progress and says, is my plan the right plan? Are these emails getting the open rates and the responses that I want? Or is there some reframing here that I need to do to hit my goals? And then after you put your plan in place and you start measuring, you have to optimize your outreach. Any great salesperson, if they send emails to 30 potential clients and they don't hear back from any of them, they're going to try to do some digging to understand what didn't land. Why didn't the outreach connect with these 30 people? And they'll optimize their outreach for the next 30 people. It's not a big deal if you start to try to build your network and things don't work or move immediately. The thing that you can control is measuring what you can do better, making those changes, and then implementing those changes as you move forward. So let's make a draft plan together. So before you actually build out your plan, you have to do this self-assessment to define your networking goals. 1, what do I want to accomplish? Am I networking to enact a career pivot? Am I networking because I feel like I'm in this corporate environment, I actually have a job that I love, but I don't have any great mentors and I'm looking for a mentor, and that's why I want to start building out my network? Are you looking for a new job? Maybe you're not looking for a big career pivot, but you've been where you've been for 3 years and you're trying to move on to your next company. Really clearly define what you want to accomplish by building out your network, rather than just feeling like I want more great people in my network. You need to understand why. The second thing you need to assess is, what is my ask? Am I asking someone for an informational chat? Am I going to ask someone to answer questions for me over email? If you're pursuing a mentor, maybe your ask is, hey, can we get on the phone for 20 minutes because I want to pick your brain and get some advice? Don't just connect with people willy-nilly without asking them or making clear to them why you want to connect. Have an ask, go in with an ask. It helps the person on the receiving end understand why you're approaching them, and it gives them a clear sense of how they can help you and what steps they can take to help you accomplish your goals. The next thing you need to assess is, what is standing in my way? Why haven't I been able to do this previously? Why am I so hesitant to reach out to people? Why do I get anxious at the thought of building out my network? Is it insecurity? Is it uncertainty? Is it that you experience social anxiety? You might find this shocking because I'm here presenting to you in a very loud and confident way, but I definitely deal with social anxiety. Is it imposter syndrome? I've dealt with imposter syndrome for years as a female founder in tech. Are you afraid of reaching out to people and building out your network because you feel like you're not cool enough or influential enough or successful as them? We need to kind of understand what those weaknesses look like so that you can address them, look at them, write them down on paper, and then push them to the side. Because again, the things standing in your way, like insecurity, imposter syndrome, ego, and feeling shame around networking, is going to prevent you from enacting your plan and making moves. Lastly, you need to define what you're going to decide makes your plan successful or not. What will you deem a success? And what will make you feel like you missed the mark and maybe fell short? An example of a clear metric of success is, at the end of my 90-day plan, I want to have scheduled 3 informational conversations with potential mentors, or I failed to schedule 3 informational conversations with potential mentors, in which case you need to go back to the drawing board, you need to assess your outreach, and you need to optimize and then implement those learnings into your next batch of outreach. So let's pick a fake person, because I think it's really helpful to kind of anchor this plan and this conversation against a real fake human being. So let's take someone who's currently an esthetician. They do hair and nails, and they really want to pivot to digital marketing. They've had to do digital marketing for their own esthetician business, and they want to learn more. They want a more stable job. They don't want to be an entrepreneur anymore. They want to get a corporate digital marketing job, or a job as a digital marketer at a startup or a small business. So number one, what they want to accomplish is a career pivot to digital marketing. That is how they're answering the self-assessment. What their ask is, they want to schedule an informational chat with other digital marketers and get advice on how to break into the industry or secure a corporate, startup, or small business digital marketing job. What is standing in their way? This person feels uncertain and they have social anxiety. They aren't really great at networking. They're really used to having more of like a client relationship through their esthetician business. And they don't really have informal chats like this. And they're uncertain if this outreach is going to succeed. What will they deem a success and what will make them feel like they missed the mark? This person wants to schedule phone conversations with 10 digital marketers, and they want to apply to 30 jobs by the end of this 90-day plan. And the last thing here is defining your why. This is so important when you reach out to people cold. They need to understand what your values are, what your belief system is, and what you're all about. So in this case, this person's why is they are passionate about helping businesses grow because they were able to do digital marketing for their own business and saw how helpful it was. And they really want to marry their creative skills with their love of data. They realize by doing digital marketing for their own esthetician business that they have this superpower with being super creative and also using data to make great marketing decisions. So this is a filled out self-assessment. Everyone screenshot it, take notes, do what you got to do. So let's screenshot this too, because this is a full on faux plan for this fake esthetician turned digital marketer. So within day 30, within the first month of their networking plan, they are going to create a list of 30 companies that they'd want to work for. Because as you saw earlier, one of their goals was to apply to 30 marketing jobs. The second thing they're going to do is make a list of 100 digital marketers that inspire them. This is going to end up being their hit list or their outreach list. They're going to draft a list of questions that they want to ask those 100 people. What do you actually want to know about digital marketing? Don't ask to pick someone's brain. Come into the conversation with 5 to 7 specific questions that you want to ask people that you're bringing into your network, whether you're an entrepreneur looking out to build out your founder network, or you're a musician looking to connect with more musicians. Don't just put things out into the ether like, hey, I want you in my network, let's connect. I think we'd really get along. It's much better, again, if you have a specific ask. When did you start your music career and what were the most successful things in building out your music audience? For the digital marketer, what courses did you take? What classes did you take to become the great corporate digital marketer that you are today? Make a list of those 5 to 10 questions. You are going to draft an email or the message that you plan to send to those 100 people. We'll go into what that email can look like. I will give you a template. And you're going to have conversations with 5 friends, supporters, or allies in this first month. This goes back to addressing this concern here that this person feels uncertain and that they have social anxiety. A lot of moving past ego and moving past a sense of shamefulness and moving past insecurity is having a few people around you, even if it's just your mom or your sibling or your roommate, who can hype you up and get you confident about enacting this plan and your potential. So I literally put this in the plan because this is a key thing that people forget to do. You need people hyping you up because building out your network is a task, it is a journey, it is work, and you need people supporting you and making you feel like you deserve to do this and you're going to do a great job. And then lastly, in the first month, you're going to do 10 hours of research into digital marketing roles, job descriptions, and platforms and tools that are necessary to be a competitive candidate in this space. So that's the first 30 days. Then by day 60, so between day 30 and 60, the following will happen. You are going to connect with all of the relevant players at all of those 30 companies from day 30 on LinkedIn. You're going to follow all the companies and the digital marketers at those companies on Twitter. And you're going to find a way to message HR. I will share tools for finding emails later. And you're going to say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I'm super interested in digital marketing roles at your company. Again, the 30 companies. And I just wanted to put myself on your radar. I have a bit of work to do in becoming a competitive candidate, but just wanted to put my name across your desk and let you know that this is something I'm working toward. The next thing you're going to do is reach out to those 100 digital marketers, the list that you created at day 30. Again, we'll do an email template later. You're going to follow all of those 100 digital marketers on LinkedIn. You're going to have another 5 conversations with friends, supporters, and allies to keep you confident as you keep going. And you're going to start watching YouTube videos, tutorials, and learning platforms and tools to become the digital marketer that you want to become and build this network. You can't really connect with people that are a few paces ahead of you and where you want to be if you're not doing the work to show them that you're legit. In writing my book, when I reached out to people to give me their mailing addresses so I could send them my book, I had to show them that I knew who they were. Hey, Jamie, I'm so inspired by you. You created Schmidt Naturals, the company, and got acquired by Unilever for $100 million. That's me saying, I know you. You're not a random person I'm trying to connect with. And I'm currently building out a robust influencer and marketing plan for my book. I know that you wrote a book. Would love to get on the phone and see what you did for 20 minutes. You need to be able to show people that you're putting in the work yourself for them to get buy-in from you. You can't just ask people to connect with you or join your network if you're not showing them that you're going to be valuable to them in some way. So the next 30 days, we're at day 90. This is the end of the 3-month plan. You will have followed up with HR a second time and said, hey, HR, I did this and that course. I chatted with this and that digital marketer, sending my resume again, want to be on your radar. You're going to follow up with all those digital marketers that you emailed by day 60. You're going to follow up with them max 2 times. So if they don't get back to you with your request to get on a call or join your network, you're going to hit them up 2 more times. And then if they don't respond to you, you're going to let it slide. That means you've been rejected, move on. It's not a big deal. You are, though, going to follow all 100 of those digital marketers on Instagram and Clubhouse or whatever other social platforms you use. You are going to measure how your outreach has performed thus far. Of those 100 digital marketers, how many of them got back to you? How many of them did you schedule calls with? If it's 0, then you probably need to rework your email outreach and optimize what that email looks like for your next batch of 100 marketers that you're going to pursue. You need to continue learning all the platforms and tools that we went over in day 60, and you're going to continue the cycle over and over again. Networking does not stop. So let's talk through how to do effective cold outreach quickly, because as you can see from the plan, this is very important for building out your network. So for this person, it's important that they target the right people and they don't aim too high to start. I'll give 2 examples. For this digital marketing fake person we're talking about, if they want to become a digital marketer and connect with a ton of other digital marketers, they should probably reach out to the lowest person on the digital marketing totem pole at those 100 companies, not the chief marketing officer of the company. The chief marketing officer is not going to respond to you. Another example I give is I had a friend that was starting a speed dating company and they wanted to be mentored by someone in marketing at Bumble. They reached out to Whitney, the founder of Bumble. Whitney is busy. She just sent her company public. She's not going to get back to you. Don't aim too high. Aim for people that are low to medium on the work totem pole, the company totem pole, or if you're a musician, don't try to connect with Cardi B. Try to find a more mid-sized musician that's had some traction, but is more likely to read your email and want to help you out. Next, you're going to use various platforms. LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and email are all fair game for cold outreach, but don't outreach on all 4. Pick 1 or 2. Don't do all of them. Again, know what you're asking for. This is relying on that preset ask that we created together before. Keep the outreach short and simple. Again, don't be vague. Don't just say, I'm building out my network, would love to get on a call. Say, I'm building out my network. You're the digital marketing assistant at a company that I love and would want to work for someday. Can you give me 15 minutes to answer these 3 questions? Make the outreach easy, make it casual, and offer options. In the email, you can say, are you free for a 20-minute chat? But you can also say, if easier for you, can I send a few questions to you over email? If you don't have time to do either of these 2 things, do you mind sharing what courses you suggest I take to make this career pivot or continue building out this network? And then the last thing is you need to hype yourself up. You clearly, all 1,200 of you, have accomplished something before. Maybe you're a great multitasker because you're a mom with 4 kids. Maybe this esthetician had built a loyal customer base of 200 customers that kept coming back to her again and again for years. Don't shrink yourself when you do outreach. Don't say, oh, little old me, I'm an early stage musician and I don't know what I'm doing. Or, oh, little old me, I'm new to digital marketing and I don't know what I'm doing. let these people know that in other areas, you are an expert and you do know what you're doing. So we're going to see this put into practice right here, right now. Screenshot the cold email outreach template. Hey, Jen, it's great to meet you. And thanks in advance for reading this cold email. My name is Ali, and I'm interested in becoming a corporate digital marketer. I know this is completely random, but I was really inspired by your blog post on Shopify. And although I'm an expert in aesthetics, I've been an esthetician with a loyal customer base for over 20 years. I'm really looking to transition to digital marketing because I found it so valuable in scaling my business, and I want to do it in a more stable corporate environment moving forward. Do you have time for answering a few questions over email on a quick 20-minute phone call? Happy to send those questions over email as well if that's easiest for you. If you don't have the time, I completely understand. Are there any courses you think I should check out to learn more about becoming a corporate digital marketer? Thanks again for reading and have a great rest of the week. Keep inspiring, Ali. If I get an email like this from an entrepreneur that says, hey, Ali, it's great to meet you. My name is so-and-so. I'm interested in building my own business. I know this is random, but I read your book and I loved it. I am a mom of 4 and I've been out of the workforce for a long time, but I'm a great multitasker. I'm really looking to become an entrepreneur because I am eager to build financial independence. Do you have time for blah, blah, blah? I would 1,000% respond to that email. Screenshot the email. Tools for cold outreach, doing a time check, 10 minutes. If you need to get people's email addresses, you can use these 2 platforms. One of them is hunter.io, great platform, it's free. Another one is ZoomInfo. In some cases, you may have to pay for these emails, but ZoomInfo is very reliable. It's great for getting cold email addresses for big, medium-sized public businesses, less so for small businesses. But another hack for cold emails is if you use Instagram and you want to reach out to a musician or a small business or an entrepreneur, usually on their Instagram profile, there's a button that says contact or email. Bam, you can email them straight from the Instagram app. Another great tool is LinkedIn. If you are really looking to scale up and build out your network, buy LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's not too pricey. It kind of unlocks a whole new level of LinkedIn and gives you the ability to proactively message people in an unlimited way. And it gives you kind of like a full new inbox that you can manage on LinkedIn, which is great. Instagram DMs are super effective. Twitter DMs are super effective if you can't find people's emails. You can DM them or tweet to them, message them on Twitter and ask them for their email address. Clubhouse has been a great way to build out your network. I'm new to Clubhouse, but a lot of people are using it. They're calling it like the audio LinkedIn. You can sign up for Clubhouse. I'll go into details about how to get an invite in a bit. And you can find rooms about what you care about. Maybe it's music, maybe it's digital marketing, maybe it's accounting. You can hop into that room and then you can speak up and say, hi, I'm Jen. I'm looking to build out my digital marketing community. All of you are so inspiring. Is there a way that I can get in contact with you, Shayna, and you, Jen? I found your comment so inspiring. Do you mind sharing your email with me? Another great tool is Upwork. You can find people on a platform called Upwork to find cold emails for you. So if you don't want to do the work of doing it or you don't have time, check out Upwork. You can literally hire people to do this exact job. The asterisks here indicating not to overdo it. You don't want to be blowing people up on email and LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter. Again, pick 1 or 2, test how well they work. If they don't work for this industry or they don't work for what you're trying to accomplish, move on, try 2 other platforms and just continuously optimize. I'm going to take a sip of water. All right, just some best practices here, or what I'm noticing. Instagram DMs is really effective and okay for certain industries: fashion, PR, media, small business, and CPG. I don't necessarily know if you can connect with a bunch of accountants or, like mechanics on Instagram. But for these industries, it's very normal to reach out and try to network over Instagram DM. Twitter, same thing. Very normal if you're in tech, venture capital, media, or PR. Clubhouse, as I mentioned, is being talked up as the new audio LinkedIn. If you need an invite, you can follow me on Instagram. You'll see my my Instagram handle at the end of the presentation. You can DM me. I have like 10 invites, I think, so happy to give some of those out. And the last rule is just respect people's boundaries, think logically, put yourself in their shoes. If you've reached out to someone and they don't get back to you within 2 days, maybe don't follow up just yet, wait 5 days. If someone tells you that they're busy, don't reach out again. Don't send them a paragraph with your life story. We appreciate your life story, but it puts a burden on the other person, an emotional burden for them to process and respond in a way that isn't going to be effective in bringing them into your network. So when you do outreach, this template respects people's boundaries. It gives them an opt-out. It praises them. It lets them know what your why is. And it's not putting too much on them to process or digest or emotionally react to. So the last slides here are important. Networking is a long game. That's why this title is called Slow Burn. It took me a full year to reach my goals for the book. So if you put this 30, 60, 90 plan into action and it's not hitting right away, don't freak out. Measure and optimize. Don't expect your whole network to be built in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. My network was not built in a day. It was built over the course of 6 careful years. So just know this going in, that it requires patience. With that in mind, you can get buy-in first and help later. What do I mean by this? You can reach out to someone and instead of asking for them to get on a call, maybe your first ask is, can you suggest courses to me that would be helpful for me to learn digital marketing and build out my digital marketing network? Then 5 months later, you reach out to them and you say, hey, thanks so much for that advice. Do you have time for a 30-minute call? So think of building out your network like nurturing. You may not be able to get everything you want out of someone right away, but maybe what you do is follow them on Instagram, comment on all their Instagram stuff for a month, DM them and ask them for courses or other people that you should follow to become a great digital marketer. They answer, and then 3 months later, you ask to get on a call. This plan is not cookie cutter. You need to think logically about what is the first best impression for me to make and land with this person. Maybe it isn't asking for something right away. Maybe it's just giving them a compliment and then asking them for something a month later. The less transactional, the better. Pursue connections over transactions. I had a goal of having a certain very famous female founder promote my book or receive my book at her doorstep. I didn't reach out to her right away to say, hey, can I have your address? I followed her on Instagram. I followed her on Twitter. I commented on all of her Instagram posts. I replied to her Instagram stories. And after doing that for about 2 months, casually, again, not in a stalker way, she saw my name enough that when I reached out to get her address by month 2, month 3, I wasn't a completely random person. Broker connections first, sprinkle yourself throughout someone's life, and then ask for help. And then lastly, keep those who are bought in the know. Send informational updates and say thank you. If someone at the 60-day mark gave you suggestions for courses you should take or other people you should follow, do that, do what they say. And then 2 months later, follow up with them out of the blue and say, hey, Jen, that advice was so unbeatable and so amazing. I took the course. I followed these 4 people you suggested. Do you have 30 minutes to get on a call? I'd love to more formally build you into my network. People like knowing that if they help you, that you're getting value out of it. You heard what they said or recommended, and they love when you boomerang back to say thank you or update them on your progress. So don't forget to do this. This is something I wanted to add here because I know that a lot of people here might be introverted. Something that works really well for networking for introverts is making a fake persona. It sounds kind of insane, but my mom did this when she was building her small business to make herself seem like she had a wider, bigger team than she did. Create a fake Gmail account for a fake assistant, associate, or liaison, and the outreach will look a little bit different. Hi, I'm Jen's assistant, and she's looking to expand her network and start a new LinkedIn group for women in sales. Are you interested? A lot of what this does is, one, put a wall up between you and the rejection, because you're like, oh, I'm not getting rejected. My assistant Phoebe is getting rejected. And the other thing it does is it helps build in a sense of validation and that you already have expertise. It helps validate you as a human, making it seem like you have an assistant or someone who's supporting you. Obviously, use digital platforms like Meetup. I think Meetup is such an incredible tool for networking for introverts. I write about this in my book, but two co-founders that I spotlight in my book actually met each other from going to Meetup. They were both introverts. They're two of the quietest people I've ever met. They were both obsessed with the same industry, ended up joining a Meetup, found each other, chatted each other up in the corner, and now they're in business together. So don't forget platforms like Meetup. Even when COVID's over, I think there will still be a lot of digital connection that goes on, and it's a great way for introverts to build out their network. Lastly, just own it. Own it. It's okay. Most people are introverted. Most people are not like as out there and extroverted and outlandish as I am. So in the outreach, just mention it. Say, I consider myself an introvert and don't typically cold email like this, but I was so inspired by, literally, just plug that in right here. Just plug it in. People will, it'll resonate with people. A lot of people consider themselves introverts. Don't let it be something you're ashamed of. Lastly, networking in person post-COVID. I didn't go into this in depth, but I would consider in-person networking events as part of your strategy, not your main strategy. I think that the digital plan and processes I've shared with you are way more effective than just going up to strangers at a conference. So definitely go to those conferences, do some in-person networking, but back it up with the learnings and the lessons from the digital networking plan that we created together earlier. And then the last few things I wanted to share, pay it forward. Networking is not about me, help me out. It's about a mutually beneficial relationship. Even if it's not going to be mutually beneficial immediately, because someone's helping you in the short term, you should think through, how can I help this person in 6 months? How can I help this person in something else? The esthetician, in exchange for getting advice from a local digital marketer, will maybe give them a free facial. That's great. That's a barter. That's what networking is all about. So offer to help when you can. You've been so helpful with X. Is there anything I can do to support your goals or your career based on my expertise and my experience? Help when no one asks you to. If there's let's say you're like me and there were 5 entrepreneurs that you wanted to connect with for some reason. With those 10 women that I wanted promoting my book, I would promote their events on my Instagram. I would hype them up on social media. I would share their content. It's a great way to let people know that you exist by you promoting the things that they clearly want to hit goals for or get attendance for or get sales for. If you do that, they will see it, they will know you. So then when you reach out 2 weeks later, you don't seem like a stranger. Remember what it felt like to be the connector, not the connected. As soon as you have your network in place, help other people build their network. This is something I am so passionate about. It's why I'm taking an hour out of my day, days before my book launch, to talk to all of you today, because I know that it meant so much to me when I would reach out to people cold and ask for their advice or ask for their help. When other people do that to me now, I take the time, because I know how much it meant when other people yesed me and other people gave me that space and that time to connect and bring me into their network. So even if you can't pay it forward immediately, if you have a network to share in 3 years from now and someone approaches you asking for help or advice, give them the help or advice in your bandwidth, of course. Maybe it's answering questions over email, maybe it's getting on a call, whatever you're comfortable with, but just remember what it felt like to be you right now, because you're going to put this plan in place, and in 3 years, people are going to be asking you for help and guidance too. And lastly, always express your gratitude. X years ago, you answered a cold email from me. I just wanted to let you know that I've landed at XYZ company doing digital marketing, and the 15 minutes you took to help me out last year really meant a lot. If you want more of me, you can follow me on Instagram at Ali Kriegs. I'm not super active on Twitter, but that's my Twitter handle too. And the link to pre-order my book is right here. But if you go to me on Instagram or Twitter, you should be able to find the pre-order link, but like maybe write it down if you're super into it. And thank you for having me. This was so great. I hope this was helpful, and I'm excited for the Q&A.
Ali, thank you so much. That was great. We also shared the information on the chat. So if anyone wants to pre-order the book, you can. Also, like I said earlier, we are doing a giveaway. So if you RSVP to this event before 3:30, two people have an opportunity to get a book. We're also doing a giveaway on Instagram starting tomorrow, which is the same thing. Two people will be getting Ali's book before it launches. So that's really exciting. We have a lot of questions, but I have one for you. What is CPG?
Oh, it's consumer packaged goods. So like for small businesses that make like granola or a beauty item or something, that's what I consider CPG. A lot of those business owners are super active on Instagram because they have to promote their products, run Instagram ads, do e-commerce on Instagram. So if you're a small business owner or an aspiring entrepreneur in the CPG space, using Instagram to DM is very effective because the person on the other end of the Instagram account is like probably there because they're in the app all the time trying to build their business.
Got it. Okay, thank you for clarifying. I didn't know what it meant. Okay, so we have a lot of questions. All right, I'm going to start with a question from Elizabeth. What are a few things that are immediate turnoffs to you when you receive a networking message request for informational interview for coffee?
What is a turnoff for me?
Yeah, yes.
When there's no ask and when I don't know what the person wants to get out of it. If someone asks to simply pick my brain for 15 minutes or just have an informational coffee chat, and they haven't really given me a sense of who they are, what their values are, what their goals are, and what they want to accomplish in the conversation, it almost feels like I'm doing free labor for someone, or that's like the anticipation versus like, oh, wow, I'm going to sit down with this woman for 45 minutes and help her accomplish her goal. I think the other thing that is a turnoff is when people don't kind of offer different options up front. So if someone says, can I pick your brain over coffee for 30 minutes? That intimidates me because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so busy. When could I do that? I have so much going on. But if someone says, can I pick your brain for 30 minutes over coffee? If that doesn't work for you, do these 3 other things work? It gives me so much more opportunity to help. And the last thing I'll say, and this is more applicable post-COVID, but anytime you're asking someone for coffee, meet them close to where they are or where they live. Ask them, where's your office? Where do you live? Where is most convenient and easiest for me to meet you? And just make the whole thing as seamless and thoughtless for the person helping you as humanly possible.
Thank you. You talked a lot about the email copy. Anush asked, how important is the title of the email to attract attention and increase chances of the email being opened?
It's really important. And I think that there are certain email subject line like psychologies that work. So a few best practices would be subject line, really inspired by you, would love to connect. Or read your blog post, would love to connect. Including in the subject line as best you can how you found or how you know the person, and giving them that sense of being known or that sense of flattery is going to increase the chance of them opening the email, as opposed to, can I pick your brain for 15 minutes as a subject line, or would love to take you to coffee. The more that you can personalize the subject line and have it rely on the way that you found or discovered this person, or something that you love about this person, or why you're inspired by this person, the more likely they are to open it. I get cold emails all the time. And anytime someone has in the subject line, like, so excited for your book, would love to connect, I open that. I'll open that 100 times over versus just would love to connect subject line.
Thank you. Anonymous asked, when introducing myself to people on LinkedIn, the recipient often asks, how can I help you? And the conversation leads to a one-sided dead end. How do you prevent this from happening?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. When introducing myself to people on LinkedIn, the recipient often asks, how can I help you? And the conversation leads to a one-sided dead end. How do you prevent this from happening?
So you are connecting with someone and then the
on
other
LinkedIn.
person is asking, how can I help you?
Yes. And
Well,
it just goes
yeah,
to a dead end. Yeah.
that's about, and so the person that connected doesn't have the answer to how the other person can help them.
Well, I guess what happens is like once that question is put out, how can I help you? Then it just leads to a one-sided dead end. I'm guessing when they reach out, it's prompting for the other person to say that. So whatever message.
So I think, yeah, I think I understand the question, and if not, apologies, but I'll answer as best I can. I think this goes back to having a very clear definition of how this person can help you. If you connect with people on LinkedIn, my mom just had to go through this because I won't go into the details of her job, but she was making another career change, and she requested 40 people on LinkedIn, and a few people came back to her and asked this, and she was like, I'm making a career change and I'm really interested in your company, or I'm making a career change and I'm really interested in what you do at company X. I would love to send you questions over email, or I would love to get on a quick 20-minute call. So when you connect with people on LinkedIn, go in knowing how you want this person to help you. If you don't think this person can help you and you just want them as a LinkedIn contact, I don't know why you would just want them as a LinkedIn contact. But I think this all goes back to like really knowing what you want to get out of people that you're bringing into your network, rather than just piling people on for the sake of piling them on.
Thank you. Godfrey asked, making a plan, how do I face my monsters and move my goal plan forward?
I think you need to know what your monsters are. I have had to do a lot of work on this. To be totally honest, it's taken me a lot of introspection to even get comfortable, like hyping up my book and reaching out to companies like Meetup to do these types of great workshops. We can't tell you how to slay your monsters because we don't know what they are. But I would get very clear with yourself around what is preventing you from hitting your goals. What is preventing you from doing this outreach? Is it insecurity? Is it imposter syndrome? Is it that you've been burned in the past, that you've been rejected in the past and you took it really hard? And so the answers there might be like getting a career coach for 4 weeks to specifically tackle that problem, or signing up for courses to help you get over that problem. But you really need to be honest with yourself around what is the root of the anxiety that's like preventing you from hitting send or preventing you from putting this plan together. That's the only way you're going to be able to put a plan into action and hit your goals.
Thank you. I'm not asking anyone to do this, but a friend of mine, she had a fear when taking exams. Like when she was taking an exam, like her anxiety would just like take over and she would not do well in the exams. So she took the LSATs, and before she took the LSATs, she actually saw a hypnotist who like really helped her with this. I mean, she recommends it. Again, not recommending that anyone do this, but it's like this is a real thing. Like people have like real crippling fears, right? That keep them from doing
Yep.
certain things that they really want to do. And you know, she did it and now she's a lawyer. So just wanted to throw that out there. Okay. Barbara asked, best practices for keeping track of when you've reached out so you don't accidentally bombard if you can't remember who you reached out to.
So the very basic way to do this would be using an Excel spreadsheet or just like a Google Doc spreadsheet. That's how I started. You can find very affordable CRMs, which is a customer relationship manager. Close.io is a very simple and straightforward one that we used to use. And I think you can get it for like $40 a month. But if you do the outreach through a CRM like that, it'll track all of your outreach for you. So you don't have to be the one managing it. You can literally like pivot and filter and see, when was the last time I reached out to these 10 people? When was the last time I reached out to these 30 people? Otherwise, getting a spreadsheet together, tracking all of your goal new networked people, their email addresses and the dates that you've reached out to them, as well as the email copy that you sent, is a great free lo-fi way to get started on that ASAP.
Thank you. Next question. Anonymous asked, hi, Ali, this is great so far. I mean, this was during the presentation. You didn't get to finish, but all of it was great. How did you come up with your example numbers? 30 companies, 100 marketers.
So those were sample numbers based on a average conversion rate for this type of thing, which is usually about 10%. So if you reach out to 100 people, typically at minimum, 10 people should get back to you. So when I set that goal for the digital marketer of connecting with 10 digital marketers by the end of the 90-day plan, I calculated 10 is 10% of what? It's 10% of 100. So I need to reach out to 100 people. With the 30 jobs, that was like completely random. To be candid, I haven't been in the job market for the past few years because I'm building my own company. But I think that for applying to the 30 jobs, it's less about like getting the job in the first 90 days. And it's more looking at what's on this application? Like, what do companies want to see from a digital marketing candidate? Because sometimes going through the process of applying and seeing what those questions are and seeing what they expect of you is really helpful in exploring, oh, what tools do I need to learn? What platforms do I need to learn? So the 30 was kind of pulled out of nowhere. And the 30 was not built against, oh, I'm going to apply to 30 and get 2 job offers the same way I did the calculation for the 110. But I really think that if you have a goal of wanting to be somewhere else in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, you need to do as much research and activity as you can. And I think applying to those jobs is just a great practice and habit to get into so that you understand the profile of the person that you want to become in 3 to 6 months.
Thank you, Ali. And I'm also going to add to that. Like, I really agree with that as well, just because like the more people that you reach out to, right, the more comfortable you get with doing it and the better you get at doing it. I mean, I'm someone that does cold outreach as well. And then you do start to realize like what works, what doesn't work. And also you become like, if you're applying for a job, the more jobs that you apply for, right, the more interviews you get, the better you get at it, the better you get at selling yourself, the better you understand what people are asking and what they're looking for, just like what you said. So it just becomes really important. And it's a great way for you to practice how to sell yourself.
Yeah.
So, Ali, we're out of time for questions. Thank you so much for answering all of these questions, and thank you so much for your time. Everyone, Ali's book comes out April 6th, but if you'd like to pre-order, there is a link on the chat that you can click on to pre-order your book. And again, 2 lucky winners will get a book from RSVPing to this event. And if you'd like to be another 2 other lucky winners, to get books before, excuse me, to get 2 books before the book launch, you can join our Instagram tomorrow and we will have a giveaway. Before I go, I do want to share 2 more slides. Okay, so first off, thank you again, Ali. And if you want to start your own network, Meetup has a promotion going right now where you can start your own group and you can save 50% on your first subscription. All you have to do is go to meetupsavings.com. Also, wait. I am struggling with the mouse today. Also, I would like to ask everyone that's on here to please pull out your phone if you don't already have it out and to scan this QR code for our podcast with our CEO, Keep Connected. This podcast launched at the beginning of the year. We've had some really great special guests on there and some organizers Meetup organizers talking about how Meetup has impacted their lives and their community. And our 7th episode is coming out next week with Radha Agrawal, the author of Belonging. Again, I ask you to please scan this QR code. And if you cannot, just be sure to go on the link that's above, meetuppodcast.com. Again, Ali, thank you so much. And congratulations, Ali. It was a pleasure having you. We learned so much from you. Best of luck to you. And thank you everyone for joining. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.